Hello. All right. So, Lisa will be right here. Can anybody hear us? Can you all hear us? Give us a hello, thumbs up if you can hear us. Here you go. We're live.
Hi.
I hope we're live. All right, yes. Okay, so hopefully I got some yeses, they can hear us. I'm hoping it'll be better this time. Okay, good. All right, they're hearing us okay, so that's great. I should have put my laptop up there, so because I'm trying to read the camera, of course, the camera's, yep. So,
Gotcha.
hi, I'm not trying to ignore anybody. So we're gonna do a fun Kimberbell project today.
And we're going to do zippers in the hoop that's on that stick.
Zippers on a hoop.
In the
zippers
hoop.
in the hoop that are, okay, I'm putting
The
in
design
the
is on that stick.
USB stick in the machine
We are
right now.
going to need tape, which does not
All
look
right,
like
yeah,
is
we
here.
saw a bunch of you earlier today. It's nice to see you again. For us, it's felt like we've been
Tape.
online all day.
I don't know where that went.
What are you looking for?
Tape.
Tape?
Here's a new roll. We'll just open. Oh, here it is.
Oh, it's hiding.
It's hiding.
Yep. Pretty and Posh. And we're doing the, what
The
size?
8 by 12. That one. Yep.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
So, did you read any instructions? Or are we just winging
Sorta.
it? Kinda? Okay.
I mean, no.
That's fantastic.
I read all of the prep instructions.
That's good.
So we've got all the fabrics that we need, I think.
You think? Well, if not, we're in a good place to get them, right?
We might have some access to that
Yep.
if necessary.
So, it's Wednesday, and it's a snow day here.
It's definitely
crazy
snowing
snow outside. It's
outside.
super pretty. We have a pretty tree in front of us that we can see.
It is super pretty, but it's going to be a drive
Yeah,
home.
we're all probably gonna have super fun driving home tonight.
This is not the right foot.
That is not the right foot. Is up there. So we're just getting the machine ready to do some stitching, and we are gonna work. I should have brought an actual. You brought this over, right? Oh yeah. So this is what we're gonna work on today, which is this pretty zippered bag. So literally,
But more importantly, these are the fun things that we're going to talk about.
Hot
So
off the press. So
Literally.
you get this goodie bag.
with the embellishments.
Yep, this is the embellishment kit, and it's got matching zippers, tags, and tassels, and the tags are leather embossed tags, and there's 13-inch. Of course, they had to be slightly different zippers. Most of the zippers that you find that are these colors, a lot of times they're 12 inches or 15 inches. These are 13. Kimberbell has to be a little bit
We
different.
have to always have special stuff.
Oh, I didn't turn that one on. Are you?
I'm working on it.
I ran out of time.
Yeah.
If you joined us this morning for Block of the Month, working on another email to send y'all out with some updated handouts based on some information that we have. We're just getting our cameras situated here. Does that look good? Let me change it. Let me find the switcher box here. That looks pretty good. All right. So we have loaded the 8 by 10 design size in here. You've got 5 by 7, 6 by 10, and
8 by 12.
8 by 12. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and we have the 8 by 12 design loaded.
And
We have no show mesh in here.
I do, because that's what was in the drawer.
It looks like we might have fusible.
It is fusible, but we're
You
just
don't need
not
to
gonna-
have fusible.
You do not. That's, again, what was in the drawer, so
Okay,
that's what we have.
that's what we have.
So I'm super excited about this. These are so darn cute.
So we're going
Look
to.
at these.
There we go. Oh my gosh. They are really, really cute.
And then the little tassels.
Oh, there's a slight glare there.
And the
There we go.
the pretty colors.
Yeah.
So excited.
So
excited. All right, so I think I've got everything that we need here. And we can just plow through. So when you print out your instructions for this, there's actually different instructions for each type of pouch. There's 4 different styles, and you get the 3 different sizes for each of those styles. So
that's
there's
good.
actually 12 different designs available in this collection.
Cool. Yep.
And then again, you can purchase the coordinating embellishment kit if you would like to bling them out.
And these go with the Pretty Petals fabrics.
They do. So I am using Pretty Petals fabrics. I don't know that they're your typical color combo, but they're what I chose because that's what we had. We
are out of.
We have a couple that we're missing.
2.
So
yep.
I like them.
Yeah.
Carolyn approved them.
Okay, they're Carolyn approved.
So Carolyn approved. We're good to go.
We are good to go.
With those 3 sizes, your directions, it says in here that they feature the 6x10 in the instructions. So if you're looking at stuff in the instructions.
Might be a little bit different.
They might be a little different. The finished size, depending upon what you have available to you, we've got a 4.5 by roughly 6.5 in the 5x7. So not super big, doable.
Kind of like a change purse
A little
style.
change purse size. If that is your only hoop size, you can still do this and have some cuteness. But you might get a little hoop envy.
Might get a little hoop envy.
Maybe just a little bit.
A little bit.
The 6x10 is going to finish 5 3/8 by 8 3/4. And then the 8x12, which is what we're doing, is going to be 7 1/4 by 11 1/2.
That sounds good.
So go big or go home, baby.
Go big or go home. We
That's
like our
right.
big hoops.
We do.
So we're
Cannot
gonna
lie.
start with. We just have white thread in right now, so that's what we're gonna start with, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And
so
the first one is a box.
it is a box that's going to say where to put our batting.
Okay.
The only preps that you have once you have trimmed your fabrics to the sizes that it says, you've got a few pressing things. So when you do these type of projects in the hoop, you've got lining and top pieces above the zipper, so on. So a lot of times you're going to be pressing in a fold.
Sure, that makes sense.
So there is some pressing to be done. And I have that prepped as well. So like I said, I think I've got everything.
All right. While we plop the batting down, I am going to move this over there so that we can see it.
We can see it?
So we can see the comments. Yep. I'm just going to
okay.
put it up because it's making me It's making me crazy that I can't see.
All right. Well, the box stitched, not that you saw it, but that's okay. So I'm going to completely cover that up with the piece of batting that I've prepped. This can be, your typical embroidery batting, and it does not need to be a super thick batting. The thin embroidery batting is just fine, and or you can have it be thicker if you would like. But just remember that you do have some turning to do once you are into the sections later on. So you don't want anything too thick. So if you want to hit the other...
oh, not that one. This.
Yep, that thing.
Okay. Oh, that's better. So now I don't completely look like we're looking someplace else.
So we are just tacking this down. This is going to show us the below the zipper and above the zipper areas. So the main thing that we're really talking about today, we just happen to be making this really cute project at the same time, is installing a zipper in the embroidery hoop. So the steps for this is, of course, the batting needs to be the base underneath because you want to have that.
Because there's some quilting
there's
dimension
going to be some
on
quilting
here.
dimension in here. So we're going to have a little bit of pop in there. And
this coat takes up a lot of space on the back of my chair. Just about slid my butt right out. Would have been funny.
well, my heavy sweater's over there. So I at least have a little bit of back support at the moment. Really right now. It's not good. But, we're going to just lean into that and hopefully it'll massage a little bit. So
You mean to pinch you someplace else?
make it hurt somewhere else so I forget about that one? No, because that's not the only place that it hurts. So let's not make it any worse than it already is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't help.
So I am really excited about these little guys.
They're really cute.
So we talked briefly about the bonus ones that are in your perfectly pieced box this month, those came in there. So these are different than the ones that were in there. If you are a perfectly pieced purchaser.
That was a lot of peas, wasn't it?
These are different little leather tags than those other ones. So if you are liking those and wanting variety, those are an option. One of the things that I've noticed is the things that are in those perfectly pieced box, you can go in and buy just pieces of them.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in parts of them but you didn't want the whole box,
Yep.
you can go get those little bits. So that is an option as well. So if you would like more in a different type, that is an option. And you can, of course, find access to that through our affiliated link on our website.
Absolutely. And the thing that I would like to point out about this is if you have just recently done one of the older Kimberbell zippered pouches in the hoop, they do this a little different now. They didn't used to have
you
this
trim.
Yeah, it wasn't broken down quite the same
It was a little bit different. So, and not only that, we always removed the batting, of course, where the zipper is because it has to go. We never before trimmed
at the top
all the way. It has you trim everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So we did trim in some spots, but not on all of the stitch lines.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to remove all of the excess batting for where the zipper is going to go, in addition to the excess on the top, the bottom, and the sides, plus that interior little channel right there. So it is an obvious once we get this trimming, and you'll be able to see it really, really well.
We might have that camera zoomed in too much.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. Ow. Oh, there we go. The beige stabilizer happens to be what I came across. I don't generally use beige stabilizer, but it works today. And it makes this white batting pop right off, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You can really see what's happening here. But the channel, like I said, is going to be right here. So you'll really be able to see that, which maybe not normal compared to the white on white stabilizer. And I am going to use one of the zippers that are in this little embellishment kit. Haven't actually decided what color yet. Whether I'm going to just use the creamy color one.
Choices.
Do I want the creamy one? Do I want the peachy one? I've got white, cream, whatever, pretty petals up top. But the zippers are...
One of my first Kimberbell projects in the hoop was those, they were the original Me Times, remember?
Yeah.
They had like the flying geese.
Yep. Zippered bags.
So that was one of my very first projects that I made from Kimberbell. And I was completely amazed that there was just that one little space inside that you flipped it, and that everything else was lined
exactly how you were supposed to
yeah.
have it. And did you sew that closed, or did you fuse that closed, or did you just let it go?
I'm pretty sure I probably sewed the first one closed with my sewing machine. I would not have hand sewed.
Okay.
And I probably just left the second one because, you know.
You found out nothing really goes in there?
Right, and if it did, I knew where it was at.
You knew where to find it, right? So as I said, you can clearly see where that channel is, and that is where we're going to be placing the zipper. However, there is actually a zipper placement line, so we're going to follow the directions.
Right, it's hard.
So hard.
Yes.
But back at the machine, it's now going to stitch right inside of that area there. So which one do you think we should do? We're going to have that.
I don't like the pink with that.
No, I think this one's going to
I like that, yeah.
I think that's going to be the one.
Yeah.
These really do coordinate with all of the petals fabric, though. That's kind of the color scheme of the
exactly.
zippers are the different.
These should have all of the Pretty Petals back in stock sometime by the end of next month. Well, no, we're not in February yet. The end of March. We are out of tan, and we are out of the pink, right?
Yeah. The peachy coral kind
Coral,
of
yeah,
color
like pink
of
grapefruit one.
Yep. All right. So what we're going to do is make sure you know which way is up, because that does make a difference. You are going to want your zipper head towards the top of the hoop. So again, make sure that you have firmly placed everything in the right direction. And the reason being is the machine is actually going to stitch over top of the zipper down here. So you don't want your zipper head down here and then not be able to pass through your zipper itself. So we are simply going to center your zipper tape inside of that area right there, and you're going to tape that in place. So this is an area that I absolutely follow that rule because it matters, and you do not want that wiggling around on you at all.
Nobody wants a sloppy zipper.
Nope, we want that to be nice and pretty, so we have a Pretty and Posh zipper bag here. So I do kind of check as I'm going and make sure that I'm not going crooked as I work my way up there. Sometimes you can get a little turn, for lack of a better description. I'm not a big fan of putting tape on my batting. However, when you have a zipper that's going to go this long of a distance, it's very easy for things to wiggle a little bit, especially with a little bit of push from the foot. So make sure that it's not anywhere other than where you want it to be. And that tape does come off pretty easily. Like I said, it's a little bit harder right on your batting to remove it, but all right, so I've got that secured in the center, well, close to the center, and both ends, and I'm right in the middle. And so stitch number 4 is going to tack that in place, and it is not going to be seen in the final stitch. However, I have actually threaded with what is colored natural, so 015. So this is going to be the colors that I want to show first anyways, but just for your reference points, it won't technically be showing in the final product. So stitch number 4 is going to just come down, and then you do want to make sure that you've got a good clearance over your zipper. So if you have done a project that is lower, make sure that you're paying attention, because you don't want it to skip on top of that and cause any issues and push it out of position. And
I still wish this was a basting stitch. I
wish they did it once just to make sure, and then you were like, yes, that's where I like it. Now let's do this triple stitch, because if it's not where you want it,
it's really hard.
It is really hard. We should totally send them that.
We should send them. SnL said.
We said you should do this.
Yes.
So,
because I'm really sure that they love it when people tell them that they should
be doing. Well, you know, they don't necessarily know.
True.
I mean, like, you know, when I was talking to Natalie when I went and visited, she doesn't embroider.
Yeah.
So her concepts of the comments and things, there's really no reference point for a lot of those things. So obviously the people that are digitizing are then stitching things out, but
they might not be embroiderers.
They might not embroiderers
software people.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, you don't know if nobody tells you.
Well, and there's also a nice way of saying,
hey, this would be really cool if you did this.
Right. If
your zipper placement technique is great.
Yes.
But would make it awesome.
Right.
It
would be great if we had this, because it's not fun to take that out.
Yeah. So I am very happy. I am
pretty good.
Balanced on both sides. What I would not be happy to see at this point is if the right stitch line was really close to my zipper teeth and my left stitch line was really, really far away, so it was unbalanced. So this is what you would want to look at this point. And unfortunately, you would have to remove all of those stitches. Hopefully you would be, before you got all the way done, you'd be like, oh, that's really bad. Stop.
Yeah, stop.
I'm going to have to just keep raising that, I think. It doesn't want to,
You need like a stopper.
yeah, but there's nowhere to clip other than that. So it is what it is. So, and there is notes in there to check your presser foot height if you did make an adjustment to go ahead and put that back. So we are going to, number one.
You need a stopper.
I don't know if that'll work.
What if you clipped it like that?
Give it a go. We'll see.
How much
So I am just,
jewelry can you wear?
I know, right? I'm blinged out. I got wonder clips. I got microphones. So I am just tearing that tape right along the stitch line so that that center area is no longer got tape on it. And my other two pieces of tape can stay right where they are because
we're not ready to move the zipper head.
right, and they are outside of the stitch field. So, however, I do need to still work on my hoop. So now that that is out of the way, I'm going to pop this out of the machine, not out of the hoop, of course. And I am going to carefully cut the stabilizer from inside this track here. So basically, I'm gonna cut so that I can see my zipper teeth on the back. All right, so a lot of times I will use a seam ripper for this. I'll get just enough cut in there so that I know, and then I'll run my seam ripper along here. If you gently push your scissors without opening them too far, that generally will do a pretty good job too, and you can keep pretty straight doing that. And what I'm looking for is getting nice and tight up to that stabilizer line and getting as much access to that zipper as possible. Repeat on the other side. And now I have a raised piece, which should be nice and easy to remove. So of course a seam ripper would do this sliding mechanism here quite easily as well. And so I have removed that section, and now you can very easily see the zipper teeth on the back.
Yeah, totally easily see.
You can't see that?
You can a little bit. It's just a lot of white.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right, so back on the front, everything looks still exactly the same. Before I go back to the machine, I am going to place my top fabric above the zipper. This is one of those pieces that we prepped, so folding that in half, wrong sides together, so I have pretty and pretty on the outsides here, and that is going to go above the zipper. And it says to place that with the fabric aligned with the right edge of the zipper teeth, and then tape that in place. So again, we are going to want a piece in the center to make sure that the alignment stays in place, and you want to balance the amount of fabric that you have on each side of your edge stitching here, just so that you have roughly the same amount what is going to be in your seam allowance at the end of the project. You don't want, can you guys see it all? Zoom in a little bit. How's that better?
That's better. Yep.
So you don't want to be right on top of the zipper teeth, because then of course the
It'll be
zipper
hard to
head
open.
can't move easily, but you don't want to be really far away, because then the stitch won't catch it real great. So kind of like halfway between your stitch line and your teeth should be a pretty good space. Plenty of room for your zipper head to make its way where it needs to go, and it should anyways catch on that stitch that's going to be coming up here.
You know, when you get into these bigger, like we could have actually used a larger hoop, because we have larger hoops. But if 8 by 12 is your largest hoop, as you can see, she's getting really close to the edge of the hoop. So you do want to just kind of pay attention to that area. because it's easy for you to
end up with your fabric pushing itself out of position.
Exactly.
Which is why it's very important. You know, I'm not a big tape person. It is important to use the tape so that things aren't shifting.
Yep.
I could put a, long piece going this way if I was really concerned, but you guys know I'm just going to stick my finger right in there and keep an eye on it. So I know a lot of you don't do that.
You want a stiletto?
I could use a stiletto as well. So what I can do here before I actually start stitching is see exactly where the needle is going to come down. And if I have got my fabric pulled too far to the right, I will know that.
Yep.
So if I'm not going to catch it with that stitch, if I chose to position my fabric too far, I'm going to be like, oh, I need to move that before I start stitching. So I always eyeball that and make sure I'm like, okay, here's where that's going to come down. I like where that placement is before I hit go. All right, so you always kind of want to just give that a little check. So again, I have this nice, it's not a bright white, there is a bright white with navy blue flowers that's in this as well. But this is that little bit creamier white, and I am stitching with color 015 in Exquisite, which is called Natural. And it's just going to do a squaring stitch, or a line, not a squaring stitch.
Yeah.
Because I also need to, see, I have to stop talking so much. I'm like, why would it
or
only
read
do,
the instructions?
Why would it only do that one line? All right, so turn front of it. Okay, yeah. There's a tack down line to just make sure it's where I want it to be. That is right. I thought it was going to show me I needed to do the back too. I was like, that's weird. It doesn't usually do that.
I think you just actually get a practice test.
They're doing kind of what we recommended. They're just not doing it on the zipper.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it up here. So again, double check. And I'm just going to make sure that that fabric is staying where I want it. And it's just going to do a straight line here. And I am just giving it a little bit of guidance to make sure that it's not getting pushed anywhere. And that looks absolutely perfect.
Very good, yep.
All right, so if I am happy with that, I can move on. If I am not happy with that, I'm going to pop those out and back up and restitch, adjust that, and then restitch. As long as I am happy with that, I am now going to place a reciprocating piece on the back of the hoop, which will be my lining. That lining piece will also have needed to be pressed in the same manner, which means right side together, and you'll have that nice fold there. So again, you want a fold line here, your raw edges at the top, and you can see where that stitch line was. So you want to be just over that stitch line. Make sure that your outside edges are pretty evenly balanced. You can see that, I think. So you want to make sure that you have, equal amounts on the outside of the stitch line, and this is the back of the hoop. So you are required to use tape. Doesn't work in any other fashion.
No.
Because this is a long piece, there's really only the ends. There's not really the corners. You could tape in that center if you wanted to, but there's really not going to be a whole lot of benefit. There's not anywhere that it's going to be able to go.
No.
So I'm just going to put it in the hoop like this, and in the machine like that. And what it's going to now do is a squaring stitch all the way around there and tack that back piece in place while it is tacking the entire front piece down.
Pam asked what kind of stabilizer are we using? Just standard no-show mesh.
That is correct. This happens to have fusible. If you see a shine, you do not need fusible. So if you're wondering why it looks like that, that is why. I actually would not have chosen that. There just wasn't any in the drawer. I would have had to go search, and I was running out of time. So again, standard natural thread, and it's going to just do a complete squaring stitch, and it's going to go right on top of that first stitch, as well as make a box all the way around here and tack that back piece down while it's doing the top. They've definitely changed this
Process a little.
process a little bit.
Yeah,
You know,
just
they
when
used
you-
to do the folded edge thing. They're not doing that anymore.
No. It is nice that the batting is out of the seam allowance, though. It will make turning this whole
so
bag
much
so much
nicer.
easier.
All right, so we have a really nice triple stitch right along the edge of our zipper, and then a straight stitch all the way around to keep all of that in place. So at this point, I need to remove the tape from the back of the hoop. If you leave a lot of tape back there, it does have a tendency to unstick itself and then start to cause problems. So I'm just going to take that off, and I am then going to place fabric on the front of the hoop. So we now have all of our top above the zipper fabric in place. And we are going to make sure that we don't have any tape in the wrong spots, front or back of the hoop. And another of those fusible things that we had to prepare was our front piece that goes below the zipper. So I just needed to fold down approximately 1/2 inch here, and that is going to be the piece that now sits below the zipper. You could have this be a different color. I did follow the guidelines from the colors perspective.
Sorry, I forgot to change the picture. Now it is.
So I have
hard to
about a
get
1/2
good
inch
help.
folded down here so that you have a nice folded edge. And we're going to tape that pretty much equally distant from what you had on the top piece there. And then again, you're going to tape in place.
So that's folded in about 1/2 inch and then pressed really well.
So yes, this edge here has got a nice press, and that was one of the prep things that we did before we sat down to sew. All right.
I'm afraid he's plowed us in.
Oh God. Do we still have a shovel?
Not sure. Did he plow us in really?
Awesome. So again, we're going to fold that down about 1/2 and press. Before we started, I did starch all of these pieces while I was at the iron and pressing those pieces in place. So we're going to equally,
So somebody is probably going to ask why that piece is so short, and it's because there's more
other
colors.
pieces and
Yeah.
colors that come down here.
We didn't just we didn't cut it too short, but there's going to be more fabric pieces, so it's going to be kind of like a flip and sew down.
She said she doesn't think she can get out.
Oh, is she going home?
She was going to leave early so that she could
The roads are really bad, somebody told her.
so she could walk the dog before it got too dark.
Okay, so again, we're gonna do a straight stitch here to be able to check our placement.
Do you need to go out there and help her?
I don't know. It doesn't appear that there's a big snowbank out there, but I mean, I have to believe her.
Well, we saw them plowing. They didn't appear to be real conscious that we were gonna need to leave at any given time.
Well, can you at least look? If it is, at least take a picture so that we can let the people who own the complex know that, you know, hey, you could at least let us know to move.
So again, I'm gonna check, and I'm good with where that stitch is falling on my fabric, and I've got that consistently spaced pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead. It's gonna yell at me. And put that back up. So I'm gonna go ahead, and again, it's gonna just do this tack down here so that I can check my placement of my fabric. And squeezing a little bit out of the way there. Missed a little bit at the end.
It's hard to be straight, isn't it?
It is. Got a couple people can verify that.
I mean, it's tacked down.
Eh,
It did catch all the way across.
I missed these last couple. I'm just going to back up a couple stitches. maybe.
I think the it'll go over that.
So I just missed
Yep.
these last little bits here. I'm not going to go very far back, just enough to pull that up a little bit, because the very end didn't grab, and I want to make sure that everything is tacked in place. So that should do pretty
You
well.
might want to take that 1 or 2 stitch out right there. You can kind of see that's where it veered off. Yeah, right there. Maybe 1 more stitch. There we go. I mean, if we're gonna
do it, let's do it.
do it.
All right. So, a couple more. Yeah, there we go.
Yep, we should be good. Ready?
Rock and roll.
Okay.
So, much better.
There we go.
All right, so I missed those just that last little bit, so otherwise I wouldn't have worried about it, but I was missing some fabric there. All right, so check your stitch. If you are good, then you can move on. On the back of the hoop, we are going to place the below the lining zipper fabric, below the zipper lining fabric. That's way too many words.
It is a lot of words.
So
Many words.
lots of words. So I'm going to remove that guy and get rid of some of this tape because I got lots going on. I don't like all that tape. Way too much tape for me. Who put all that tape on there?
I don't know.
Crazy person.
Tape fairy.
Tape fairy. That's about right. All right. So I got one more piece over here that I prepped with a pressed edge, and we are basically going to do the exact same thing that we did on the top, on the bottom. You need to make sure that you are leaving space for your zipper to move, and then tape that in place. Now this one is obviously much larger. I need to tape 4 corners, and again, the back of your hoop is notorious for trying to pick up fabric and put it where it's not supposed to go. So you have to get those corners of the fabric down, otherwise you will probably regret it.
After you tape those corners, slide that down just so they can see. We zoomed in a little, so there you go.
So again, you want all 4 corners. Don't just do a little bits, because it's really, really easy for that corner to get folded in as it's turning. It happens super, super easy. So we don't want that to happen. Make sure that you've got those edges in
okay?
place. All right. And back to the machine.
Okay. Now it's going to go backwards, right?
And now it's going to
Do the triple stitch.
stitch. Yep, it's going to tack that in place.
All right. So Pam asked, you starched the fabric. Did you woven fusible the starched pieces? No,
No.
we did not. And we didn't because that's not, it didn't say to.
It doesn't need it.
You've got batting in there, and it's not a lot of heavy stitching.
No. Nope. If we were going to be doing a large decorative stitch on the front of the bag, then maybe we would need to support those stitches, but we're just doing quilting type stitching, so that's not a necessary.
No, and that really will just make a lot of extra bulk in your
It's going to make for
seam
a lot
allowance.
of, and to turn that, especially those corner points with all of that would be very, very difficult. So great question though. All right.
So now I see a V-shaped.
Now we are going to make sure that that caught. That looks absolutely beautiful. So now we're going to turn the hoop to the back and remove the tape from below the zipper. I should probably zoom back out, huh? Up here. A little better?
Yep.
All right. And we are going to flip.
We're going to flip that out of the way so that when we do the quilting, the lining doesn't get stuck or doesn't get quilted, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's what it looks like. All right. So there we go. And we should now have our excess fabric. And that is what that looks like. Look at that. Okay. So we're going to take that back to the hoop, back to the machine. The hoop back to the machine. Words are so hard.
They are, and the further in the day it gets, the harder they become. Yeah.
All right, so we are here, and at this point, it's going to do a little V-stitch here, and that's going to tell me where I'm going to cut that beautiful fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead with that, and
Kind of seems like we're treating this like an applique now. Is that
it
correct?
is. There's going to be a satin stitch, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you. I told you I didn't give the hard instructions. So I have
Yes, Miss Linda is asking if this is a Kimberbell design. This is the brand new Pretty and Posh.
So I can trim this right here. We won't need to switch. I just need to get rid of the excess fabric below here. So I am just going to trim, yep, right at that line. Before I cut, let's actually read the instructions.
Not through our batting.
Yep, just your fabric. Batting likes to grab hold of your skeezers. All right, so once we have the area trimmed away, it's going to show us where to place our next piece. It didn't work.
It didn't.
Super well. It
No.
slid just like the other one.
I tried.
Nice try. Okay, 1, 2. I don't have that sweater on. Woo!
I can't hear you. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
We are going to completely cover that area up with our next section of fabric. And again, the size of those pieces are all in the instructions. And we are then going to tack that down with color stop number 11. What was that?
There's a couple machines that didn't get she was having trouble registering. Looks like we might run over a little today. I see some trimming in your future.
You do? Now, why would you think that's going to happen? So we're going to trim above and below that line.
And then we probably have one more color that
And then
goes
we have
on
a placement line and a tack down for that bottom section. Don't like trimming next to batting.
Yeah,
You
it
know, my
gets
scissors always
stuck on the batting.
get stuck on the batting.
Okay.
And the placement line for our third piece. So I brought matching colors. I don't know what color we're going to end up wanting to use if we want to quilt or whatnot with different things. It looks like it's all in the white now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah. We could do the quilting in white, and then we could do the either in the blue or the peach if we wanted to do like the little stripe.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what the options are. Is it all one piece or is it sectioned?
Right.
Looks like the quilting parts are one color at least.
Yeah, we're only on 13 of 21, so we still have a few steps to go.
Just a few. Completely cover that guy up. And make sure that you have fabric going. I know you can't quite see it in that picture, but you want to make sure that you have a seam allowance going over the edge because this is the bottom fabric. So don't just go right up to that line. Make sure that you have some fabric in there for turning and whatnot. So hi, Jean. Would you like to say hi to all of our watchers?
We're live.
So Jean says hi to everybody, and he'll call back in a little bit. Bye. He was like, I'm so sorry. All right, so we're just going to trim from above that line. So I don't know if you guys
to think we were ignoring him.
Right, I didn't want to not answer because then he would think something was wrong or something. So I was like, oh, well, we'll just make him feel really bad instead. That's so much more fun.
Oh, goodness.
You know, it's a different time in Florida, right?
It is a different time in Florida. It's not. He's still not used to us being on Wednesdays, probably. We'll give him that.
Yeah, that is
new.
absolutely fair. All right, so before trim close to the stitch, do not trim other blah, 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 blah. All right, so we're going to do what I just did and trim that away. And then we are not doing anything with that lining piece as of yet, but we are going to now tack down all of the sides so everything stays together. And again, make sure that you are leaving, and you'll see as it's zooming its way around here, you want to make sure that you have a seam allowance around that outside edge. So that's what I was talking about. I know you can't see it here, but I'll show you the next time I have it out of the machine. You want to make sure that there's not, you're not cutting right at that stitch line because you need to have something for when you fold to be in that seam so that it's going to work nicely. So the chevron satin outline is what is next. So it's going to literally stitch right on top of those two. Should we do that in a matching peach?
I like the peach. I also like the greeny color.
Or we could go here. So the only reason I'm leaning maybe towards the peachy color is because it's next to both of those
them?
lines.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
All right. So we're going to rethread with this really nice peachy color. It's a blush something or other. I can't remember.
ES 503.
503. It is in our whatchamacallit kit. What's that whatchamacallit?
Our SnL's bundle, Stitching
with SnL.
SnL.
That's what it's called. Oh, man. moved like wrong, and it was like, Okay, so satin stitch. This is gonna be a few minutes.
Yeah.
Holy crow. So apologies, this is taking a little longer than I thought. I thought this was like almost no stitching, so it should go pretty quick. But, you know.
It's all right.
It's so much easier for you guys to see the big ones.
It is. Can we maybe, does that zoom out at all so they can see a little bit more of it? There we go. That's a little better. I think it's neater to be able
Still
to see
can't
the big,
see under
around.
here, but that's all right. This was a good choice.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Gonna give it some pretty pop there.
Yeah.
So once this is stitched, we do have
Is there quilting after this?
quilting, and they are color stops. So we can pick and choose what we want where.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you are coming in late, this is the largest, so the 8 by 12 Pretty and Posh zippered pouch.
So this is the final piece, so you
Yep.
can see that a little bit. Pretty and Posh is the name of it, and we are doing what is called the Rosalind. There is a Rosalind, whichever part you want to put the emphasis on, the wrong syllable.
Yeah, it's almost a chevron.
Yep. But there are 4 different ones in there. We just decided we liked this one.
Yeah.
So this is what we went with.
And we have no show mesh in our hoop. We have some batting in there. You could use your Kimberbell project batting if you want.
Absolutely.
We just have probably some polyester batting in
Whatever
there.
was in the
Whatever was
drawer.
in the drawer. And we are using
And then
one of the
there is
zippers.
the embellishment kit, which has zippers, tassels, and these cute little leather tags that can be added into your projects if you decide you go that route. So the big thing that we were talking was proper placement of zippers in the hoop. So.
Yeah. And if you haven't already gotten your version of this, when we are finished stitching here, if you go back to the description of this, the link to purchase the embellishment kit or the design CD is right in that link. Or you can go to our website, and I will scroll that on the bottom here. There you go. You can go right there. LaBouSewingCenter.com, and if you just do a little search in the search bar and you type in either Pretty Petals or Pretty and Posh, they all of this stuff will show up.
This is super cute.
It is.
So I am a big fan of these zipper pouches. I have made many a zipper pouch.
Right.
And the Kimberbell ones have certainly been my favorite from how they're put together,
Yeah.
how they turn, how the zipper is placed, all of those things, and the lining. So a lot of the other bags, you know, if you want it lined, you have to do it this way. And if you don't want it lined, you have to do it that way. This is just simple. It's straightforward.
It is.
They are all lined regardless. I mean, I suppose you could skip those steps if you didn't want it that way.
Yeah.
But they're just very, very well done and very straightforward. No matter what design set you are
You're
doing, they are very straightforward.
Yeah.
I am waiting for all of the me time ones to be added in because they've
There
been
are
discontinued.
So many Kimberbell emails coming in right now. My watch just keeps dinging Kimberbell. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, they just really do a fantastic job.
They do.
They're very innovative. And I love the ability to make these bigger bag pieces. I actually am, so I want to make a project with like a Kimberbell top with the zippered pouch. And then not do the back part because I want to make it so that I
Like a pocket on something?
Like a pocket on something. I want to make like a gadget holder, and I want to put like some dividers or some elastic in there to hold. We travel with so much stuff.
I know. So have you ever taken your lining and before you put it in something, made pockets?
I have, and I thought about doing that with this version, but I think that I want to have, I want the back to be slightly larger, so I'm just going to probably bind it like with a gusset.
Okay.
But it's so cute.
So I think it was the flying geese one, which you said was one of your
Yep.
first pieces that you did.
Yes.
I put pockets on my lining piece, and
Yeah.
then of course you can see exactly where it's going to go when you place it.
Yeah.
So you just sew the pocket into an oversized piece to make
Yeah.
sure that you can get it centered or
Exactly.
whatnot in there, and that was able to be used. So I used some really nice fabric, not just some cottons, some dress fabric.
Yeah.
And I used, instead of fabric, I used heat transfer glitter in the flying geese section.
Yeah.
So it was a sparkle fabric that then had glitter as the flying geese, and made a little strap.
Yeah.
And basically made a little dress purse, and then made pockets on the inside of
Oh,
it.
yeah, very cute.
It turned out really cute. I made them for gifts for a couple of people, and so I mean, you can take something this simple and really dress it up,
Yeah.
dress it down, add it, like you're saying, into something else. A lot of her more recent zippered bags have been in more of a purse format, so like a square type
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
But of course, you don't have to put
Right.
the strap on. It could be
Yeah.
just a zippered pouch that. No. However, they do also. I can't think of what the name of it was. They had the landscape ones with all of the quilting. Drawing a blank. Those were landscape. I made a purse out of faux leather and made a strap
Yeah.
and gave that to Samantha for Christmas 2 Christmases ago. So it wasn't 2 years ago, it was 2 Christmases ago. So I mean, there is, by putting in different materials,
It really changes the look
really
of the bag.
changes the look of the bag. And I will say that the material that I used for those little dress ones, I was cursing by the time I had them done, because nothing stayed where I put it. It was very stretchy, and it wasn't fun by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
And looking back, Pam had asked about putting fusible on. Had I
That
put
would've been-
fusible on those, they wouldn't have shifted on me. But when I went to fold the fabric, it was like, whoa, it was very wonky.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not enjoyable. Which is why I don't personally own one. I made 2. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, that's enough of that.
Not doing that again, but maybe if I go back over and try the fusible on it, because I bought that fabric to actually make a suit years and years ago. That was that nice of fabric.
Yeah.
For a jacket and skirt and pants and the whole shebang. And I had it like cut and then never sewed.
sewed
And
it.
of course, I'm not that size anymore, so there's no way it's getting sewn. So I had all of this fabric, and I was like, what am I going to do with all this? And that's what I came up with, and they turned out really cute, but
Yeah.
man, they were not fun. So, but the ability to alter these and add little, chapstick or pen pocket or whatnot's inside, super easy. You can just take your piece of fabric to the sewing machine and
Yeah, add your little
folded
dividers
fabrics,
or-
add
Yep.
the, sew on the pockets. Very, very easy. And that was one of those 2 lines.
Yep.
That was a lot of stitching.
So I have, like when I try to alter a pattern, my tip for anybody is to make the first one the way the directions, I know you don't want to, make the first one the way that
You're
the
not wrong.
directions say. It will give you a better idea of how the whole project is going to go. And while you're sewing it, you can think of
You
things
can see where you can make an adjustment
where you can
and
make
have
an
it work.
adjustment. Yeah, don't just do it and make all kinds of changes the first time, because it's so much harder. Sometimes, even though you don't think that there is a reason behind that step, sometimes there really is, and it was an important part of the step.
And you took it out because you didn't think that it was, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, fudge.
Yeah, and I would say that over the course of making a ton of bags, that is one of the things that I had to try to break myself of the habit of. Sometimes it's a lot of work to make a bag a second time, but boy, it is a lot more work to make it
rip it
only
apart.
to realize that, yeah,
That didn't work.
really was an important step and I shouldn't have skipped it, or I didn't alter it correctly because I really didn't know what I was doing. So
Yep.
that is definitely my tip. Make it first, and
Mm-hmm.
then from that point, change it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
obviously we haven't made one of these before because we didn't realize how long this of a stitch out this was.
Right.
You know, I mean, it says 30 minutes. We should have 1.5 that and on it. Known it was going to be an 1.5 hour stitch, right?
Right, right. We are getting there.
We are.
According to this, we only have about 10 more minutes of stitch time, so about 20 more minutes of stitch time.
So apologies, but it'll be worth it.
That's right. I mean, the good thing is if you watch this later,
You
you
can
can
just
just put
fast
this
forward it.
on like the super speedy part, how I always watch training videos at like 2 times the speed,
Interesting.
and then it won't be like, it'll be easy to watch, and you'll get done super quick.
It has us put the fabric, the lining fabric back down after this.
And then quilt through that to hold it in place.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not typical.
Well, like we said, just when we think we know, we don't. How do you sew on the leather decoration? With the button sew on feature? I don't think it gets sewn on in the hoop, does it? They probably have you hand sew.
They are going to have you hand sew that because, of course, if you put that underneath your machine, once it's done, it's going to sew that corner closed.
But if you take your hoop out and you take it to your sewing machine,
We could take it right here
Yeah.
before we put the back on
and you can
and sew it on right then and there, which would be how I would do it at home,
Yeah.
most definitely. But Hayden will be back on Friday, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to put that on.
This wouldn't be hard to whip stitch. It really
No,
wouldn't.
That doesn't mean I'll do it.
But yeah.
But yeah, that's so cute. So cute. Yeah. So this
we're moving along.
is that a new question?
It was, how do you sew the leather decoration on?
Oh, okay.
Yes, but we answered
So
it.
there are 4 holes on each side of those tabs.
You want to put it underneath that camera there?
So there are a nice array of options here, little sewing pieces and parts here, made with love, a heart, the little flowers, which is what it shows on this one here, this little guy here, little diamonds. So what you would want to do is take your piece, place it in the position that you want it, and depending upon your preference, you could sew right over the leather, or you could sew, as they're showing on theirs, small stitches off the side of the leather, is I think what they showed. I lost my piece of paper already. Yeah, they're showing off the sides here, so 4 stitches going this way, like that. Instead, you could certainly do large going around. It would just be your preference there. So
Right.
I think that it would be more secure because that's a really big stitch that it would be easy to get caught.
Yeah.
And as far as the tassels, if you are adding that, I like their instructions are as desired, ladies. That's what the instructions they give you. And then So if we take this, we would basically, at least what I would probably do, is put some thread through the knot and then attach that directly into the zipper pull, and then go through there and have that be attached just through thread. From here, you can kind of see the loop there. So go through this point here and go through the point on the zipper pull itself and loop it through there.
Yeah.
And tie knot.
Yep.
And that's how you would attach the tassel itself. So. And again, you get all of the different color
choices.
Options there. Very cute. Very, very cute. Almost there.
Coming up to the end.
All right, so
I can see the finish line on this stitch.
all right, so we're gonna flip that lining piece in place, tape that down, and then stitch it in place, and then we're gonna do the quilting details. So we've got top stitch, and then there's little lines in the center, and then the bottom. So I say we,
Do it all in that.
no, I say we change.
We change? Okay, we can do that.
Because why not?
Why not? We have
We
the
can.
ability to
We've
do
got
that.
them. What?
I mean, how much longer is it going
That's
to take?
another 10 seconds that we're gonna
Right.
add in. So at this point, we're already late. What the heck? Caitlin wants me to bring her stromboli. I think Caitlin needs to eat the Nutrisystem in the freaking freezer. All right, so real quick, I'm going to turn this underneath and tape that in place. Going to start your car. And
We lost one piece of tape. Here we go.
bang, ma'am. With that there, it's just going to do a squaring stitch around the base to keep that lining in position. And then we can remove that tape and start the quilting stitch. So while I'm doing that, you can put that thread in.
Wait in first. All right.
So I feel like that's the wrong size piece of fabric. Follow the freaking instructions.
Right?
I feel like it's the
All
wrong.
right. So
I think it might be the wrong size piece of fabric. Is Carolyn still here?
I don't know. Maybe. Okay, I am thread. Are we gonna need another bobbin? Do we have another bobbin over here?
What's this one?
There's more in that one for sure. Is that a sewing bobbin? I think that's sewing thread.
I have a ton of stitches left.
Okay.
I mean, the quilting's not
Okay.
heavy, and then what
All
do you
right.
got?
Well, I have a spool bobbin
Okay,
thread if we need it.
all right.
We'll try.
It'll yell at us like in 10 seconds now, right?
Probably because I mentioned it.
You told it to look.
I did.
Your fault. All right, we are rethreading with our natural, and it's going to do the quilting in this upper section here. And I am pretty sure that I cut this piece of fabric wrong. 3, yeah. This needs to be bigger because it will not cover that whole thing.
No.
I'll be right back.
Okay. I will work on the quilting.
Okay.
Hey, bring back a bobbin just in case.
I can do that.
This quilting is super cute in here.
Say again.
I said the quilting is super cute in here.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. All right, so we've got the white done. Now we're gonna do kind of like an echo line in the center. So I'm gonna change my thread back to that ES 503. Do. All right. Thank you. All right, and then I'm going to change to a color that's going to match the bottom. That one is going to be ES 442. All right. And then some more of those little diamond-shaped pieces in the quilting. This color is perfect. You only have 2 more steps after this.
Oh, that's adorable.
Pam asked, is the top piece above the zipper wide enough to cover the zipper? I don't understand the question.
So the piece of fabric that's above the zipper here, it is not covering the zipper teeth, and it is just the top of the bag.
Yeah, there's gonna be a larger piece that goes over everything.
So right, there's going to be which is the piece that I cut wrong, what I just ran back and did. So I am getting all of my tape off now, because the all-important step that screws everybody up
is this one.
is this one.
If you want your bag
If
to
you
work.
want to work, you must do this.
Ready? We have to bring the zipper inside.
Very important to do that. So you want to make sure that the zipper head is in the center, and then we're going to take your piece of fabric that is large enough to cover the entire bag. And this is the backing fabric, and we're going to completely cover up the outside squaring stitch of this bag. All right, so all the way around all 4 sides of that squaring stitch, and we're going to tack that in place with color stop number 20. And
Looks good.
sometimes the back of the hoop is, you think you're farther back than you
You
are.
are.
So it's just double checking and making sure. So
And this is going to go across the zipper teeth.
right on the zipper, of course. And there's that beloved bobbin. Not too worried about it, but that one too. All right, got a new bobbin.
Wouldn't it be nice if everything was like a team sport when you were sewing? Like if you always had like
Right.
a like the
Second person.
right. I'll slide it over, you get it in. It's like a pit crew.
Right? Good stuff.
Pit crew for sewing.
All right, so this one is going to complete that whole squaring stitch all the way around, which we're covering up this end of the zipper, which is why it was so important to move the zipper head inside. All right, once we have this, we're gonna put the lining on the back. The back is gonna leave that little opening for us to turn through.
Absolutely.
So this guy is going to be taped again to the back of the hoop. So we can see everything very clearly. I'm just gonna get rid of a couple of those little.
And you can see that we moved that zipper. Otherwise, at this point, you would just have a decorative cover.
Right, if the zipper head was out here, it would have been stitched outside of the bag. So very important to not miss that step. It is, of course, highlighted in your instructions, but if you're not reading said instructions, which I don't know who doesn't read instructions, but
I mean, not us. I mean, we always follow the instructions.
follow everything. I don't push that button without double checking, making
And
sure.
we I can't even say it.
We read the instructions. Yeah, so
I cannot tell a lie.
my mouth won't let me go there. But yeah, very important to make sure that is in there. Otherwise, you will be very sad because all of this would just go down the tube.
Yep. And
again,
this is a solid fabric, so it doesn't really matter what direction does the pretty side of the fabric need to be.
This guy lining is going to be pretty side down because it's going to be turned. So if this was a
fabric
print like this, and this was my lining, I would put it pretty side down.
Yep.
So that when I actually turn it, I would see that fabric inside my bag. So that was the piece I didn't cut the right size. I'll have to find a new use for that one. Because it's so pretty.
Yes.
And it's starched and ready to be used.
Starched and ready to be used.
It's all
Okay.
set. Final stitch,
Final.
guys. Final answer. All right, so once we do that, it can be popped out of the hoop. And pink handled over there.
Yep.
Purple or whatever.
Havels.
Hi, Karen.
I don't know. They showed folding the tag in half and sew it into the side. I mean, you could put a tag in there,
tag,
but maybe
not,
it was a
not
tab, like to hold on to it. I wouldn't be one of those tags, would it? I mean, I guess you could put one in there.
I mean, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you wanted it to be like a a stronger hold piece?
Yeah.
Sure. All right, so that went around there twice. And so now we can pop that right out of the hoop, trim away all of our excess, and then we'll turn through that opening that was left in the lining stitch, and then turn a second time through the, thankfully we opened the zipper hole. Alrighty, so I've got my Havel. These are serrated. They work really, really great. We want to leave about a 1/4 inch all the way around. You can certainly do this at your rotary if you would like to. Just be careful when you're cutting your zippers with a rotary. You can
Nick your blade.
nick the blade on those.
Get your knickers in a spot.
We don't want to get those knickers all out of joint. Nope. So
Are you enjoying the entertainment? Pit crews and knickers? You just never
Tony's
know
laughing at us.
what we're going to say.
It's never dull. That's why it's
Nope.
SnL. It's an enjoyment
We
for all.
crossed over the PG part for a moment.
Get your knickers in a twist.
Oh, your pit crew and the knickers.
That would be funny, right? Our sewing pit crew.
All right. I'm not being real careful on how large my seam allowance is here.
There at the old place that I used to work at, they used to have they used to sew overnight. They'd have like an overnight group of people that were sewing, and there was a local cop that came in to the shop one time, and he's saying, "Did anybody ever tell you about the time that we got a call about some nefarious things happening here?" And as it turned out, somebody got hot while they were sewing, so they had taken their shirt off and they were sewing in their bra in the window, and so that somebody called the cops on
Seriously?
them. Yes.
Okay.
So you just never know what's going to happen when you're sewing with your crew.
Wow. Okay.
That's right. Keep it off the camera. Yeah, nowadays, right?
All
That would
right,
be there'd be
so-
a podcast about that.
We have approximately 1/4 inch. Some areas are a little bit bigger. It's not going to be the end of the world. And then we want to trim down those corners so that they will turn easily.
Because we don't have batting in there. It's going to be so much easier.
It's so much easier. So first turn is going to be through the opening again in the lining. So that's going to be my first piece there. That solid fabric isn't super thick, so
Be gentle with it.
don't be,
This is what I affectionately call birthing the bag.
Yes, you have done that. Weirdo. Now Tony's like, I don't know, man. Knickers, birth. So there's turn 1. Got turning tools. Be careful again. You don't want to push those seams too hard. So, but you also don't want them all balled up before you turn it the next time. So, dun-dun-dun-dun, there's one. Wow, I'm making a huge mess over here. Pieces of fabric everywhere.
Everywhere. The hurrier we go.
The hurrier we go is exactly right.
I did really like this.
Well, thank you. You didn't have to do that, but thank you, thank you.
I got the first thing out of that.
You're on your own for the next.
How long you think?
All right, once we have the first, I will very often press, even at this stage, on this side. I don't usually wait till I get to the next. I usually do a double. What do you do?
I do too.
Yeah. I'm wearing it, sorry. But that's over there and we're already late. So we're just gonna keep going. So now I'm gonna turn through this guy here. And this is where you, again, if you didn't remember to move that, you start crying.
Yep. Bad things happen.
Bad things happen because we didn't prepare. So make sure you don't skip that step. And a little bit of water, steam, starch, whatnot gives you a really nice point up at the top here
so cute.
So I am super stoked about these files.
All right.
So
There's our bag.
the bag. You can see the quilting files are adorable in that.
Yep.
We've got the zipper that's in there, and then we can add a tag to the bottom if we would like to. This is where they're showing it. You can of course do it however you would like. And if, again, you would like to, the whole kind of point, I guess, is to also add a tassel to your zipper. So that would be some add-on bling.
Okay, guys.
So thank you for joining us. So sorry we ran over.
Bye.
Have a great one. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Ooh, let's hit the right button. Bye.